Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is where we take a pile of sources, pull out the really key stuff, and, well, get you up to speed fast. Today, we're looking into a pretty recent and, high-profile controversy. It involves MrBeast, often called YouTube's golden boy. But this isn't about one of his huge giveaways. Nope. This time, we're unpacking a video that kicked up a significant and pretty unexpected backlash. We're going to dig into what happened when MrBeast filmed at the iconic Mayan ruins of Chichén Itzá down in Mexico. It's a really interesting situation, where content creation kind of slams right into cultural heritage.
Yeah, and what's really striking is how something that probably seemed like just a fun marketing idea for a video, how quickly that just exploded into this national firestorm. Well, it wasn't just a quick thing on social media. It really shifted almost overnight from being like just another YouTube stunt to a genuinely serious national issue for Mexico. And it ties into this much bigger ongoing conversation about, cultural respect.
Exactly. And that's what we're trying to do today. We want to boil down the facts of what happened, understand the bigger picture, the implications, and really get into the deeper questions this whole thing raises about, how creators interact with these major global landmarks. So let's get into it. Okay, so first, the specifics. What actually happened at Chichén Itzá? Our sources say MrBeast's video involved filming right there at the ancient site. But the key thing, it was at night.
Right.
And that's a time when apparently the ruins are very strictly off limits to everybody, to the public anyway.
Yeah, that's a crucial detail.
And then there's the commercial part. This whole big shoot, it was all set up to promote his chocolate brand, Feastables. His team even used the slogan Mayan-approved in the marketing, which, as we'll get into, definitely hit a nerve.
Oh, absolutely. And the reaction from Mexico, the official reaction, it was fast. And very clear. Mexican authorities, specifically INAH, that's the National Institute of Anthropology and History, they came out almost immediately. They basically said, look, this entire shoot was completely unauthorized, no gray area there. It broke specific rules meant to protect national heritage sites, from being used commercially without permission, explicit permission. These places aren't just like pretty backgrounds for videos, they're protected. Cultural treasures.
And it wasn't just the officials, was it?
Yeah.
It sounded like the public reaction was pretty strong too. Using sacred ruins, as a backdrop for selling chocolate bars.
Yeah.
Especially with that Mayan-approved line. That really didn't go down well with officials or cultural experts or even just everyday folks, it seems.
No, it didn't.
It sounds like it touched on something deeper, historically.
It absolutely did. This wasn't just, YouTuber breaks rule. It connects to this long history in Mexico, a sensitivity around indigenous heritage being, appropriated or commercialized, especially by outsiders, by foreign groups. And that Mayan-approved phrase in particular, that was widely seen as just really superficial, tone deaf even. Like it was trying to slap some legitimacy on something that was fundamentally a cultural misstep. It showed a real lack of understanding, maybe, of how important these sites are.
Wow. Okay, so it really struck a chord, and then things really escalated, didn't they? When the president of Mexico got involved. What did the sources say about that?
Yeah, that's when it really went to another level. The president didn't just mention it in passing. He publicly condemned it. He criticized how these sacred cultural sites are basically being turned into marketing playgrounds, his words. And having the president weigh in like that from the very top, that totally changed the game. It wasn't just an online thing anymore or, something for the tourism board to worry about. It became a full-on national conversation about cultural sovereignty, about protecting heritage. It sends a message, right? These sites are fundamental to national identity, not just places for tourists.
That's incredible how fast a viral video can become, almost a diplomatic issue. So, okay, given that huge reaction, it really brings us to the heart of the debate here. Did MrBeast actually cross an ethical line using the Mayan ruins like this for content, for promotion? Or was it maybe just, a creative idea that went wrong, something that just got out of hand?
And our sources really lay out those two sides quite clearly. It's the key question. Was this, as some might argue, simply a creative project gone wrong? Maybe an oversight, given how MrBeast usually operates. Or was it actually, like many others felt, an example of cultural exploitation for clicks and sales? And to understand that, you kind of have to look at MrBeast's brand itself. He's all about, the spectacle, the scale. He's always pushing boundaries. Think about recreating Squid Game or giving away islands. Huge, audacious stunts. That's what his audience expects.
Yeah, but these cultural sites, historical landmarks, That feels like a totally different ballpark, doesn't it? When you start mixing commerce and content creation and this really sacred history, the risks seem much higher than just getting bad comments on a video.
Exactly. That's the core issue. And look, he's not the first big creator to bump up against this kind of thing, but Chichén Itzá, it's got this incredibly deep cultural and sacred meaning for the Mayan people. Plus, Mexico has really strong laws protecting its cultural heritage, very specific legal frameworks. So while what MrBeast did might seem creative in that typical YouTube world where it's often just about being bigger and louder, here it directly clashed with these deeply held cultural values, with national pride, and with actual laws. So it becomes less about just one creator's actions and more about this bigger global responsibility that content creators have when they interact with, real tangible heritage sites around the world.
Yeah, that's the real tension, isn't it? Trying to balance that constant drive for spectacular content with the deep respect that these historical and cultural places deserve. Demand really shows how blurry the lines are getting in our digital age.
It does, and we'd really encourage you, the listener, to think about the different layers here, the nuances. Think about what happens when digital content creation meets physical, tangible cultural heritage in such a public way. It brings up all sorts of questions, right? About responsibility, about getting real permission, not just a permit maybe, and about understanding local culture before you jump in.
So as you mull this over, here's something to consider. Was what MrBeast did here just an innocent mistake? A creator pushing the envelope, maybe going a bit too far by accident, or was it actually a step too far? An action that fundamentally disrespected sacred cultural heritage? That's definitely a question worth exploring on your own long after this deep dive finishes.